Last fall, this homeowner paid over $10,000 to a so-called basement waterproofing company, only to end up with a bigger mess than before. Today, we're ripping it all out and showing you exactly what they did wrong, and then installing a real drainage system that'll actually keep this home dry for a long time. Let's get started.
Yeah, so it's a weed barrier. So not only is it fairly weak, it's easy to tear, but it's also non-permeable. If you were to put water on this, the water will just sit there. It's not a drainage fabric. I mean, I'm surprised to see that they used fabric. That's impressive, but it's not the right kind of fabric. So it's arguably worse than using no fabric at all. The drain's not able to soak in any water. The stone here is also too small. And this downspout connects into the perforated French drain pipe, essentially turning the French drain pipe into a leach lawn. And then the discharge location. The discharge location doesn't set low enough in order to properly drain out the French drain. This is sitting well above the bottom of the majority of the French drain along the house. So this situation has arguably been made worse. So another mistake on this project that the foundation waterproofing company made, they tried to raise the grades around the house. It's not really done very well. We still have a dip here, but they put some soil along the foundation. The soil they used to raise the grades, it's what we call sandy loam, but basically it's topsoil with sand and a bunch of organic material in it, like wood chips, and it's a very permeable soil. It's intended for gardens and planting, but it does a terrible job at shedding water away from the home. But that's, once again, the difference between a drainage solution that solves the problems effectively for the long term and a solution that possibly makes things worse. You can see here, this area that the French drain is ran through is completely flat. These guys did raise the grades next to the home to create a little bit of pitch away from the home, but they didn't lower the soil grades and create a swale or the French drain was going to be installed. So right now, there's nothing to bring the water into the French drain. And again, even if they did have a swell, the system still isn't going to work because the fabric is impermeable. So it's just thing after thing that's wrong with this system. Also, it's highly recommended in a situation like this where we're trying to reduce the saturation of the soil around the home to include a surface drain system with the French drain in order to evacuate the surface water quickly before it even has a chance to soak into the ground.
One more thing we noticed when we were digging up the old system is they did not tape the connections. Take a look at this. They just bent the pipe to make it go into the Y connection. This is how you get a pipe that's clogged with dirt. So to fix this system, we started by installing a new French drain, and you can see it is much deeper than the previous one. The previous one was a joke, really. It was a couple inches below the top of the soil, and they really need to be at least a foot down. We're starting at 18 inches and going down deeper, as you can see by using the laser level to make sure our entire French drain is on slope and goes downhill. We're gonna leave this thing in the ground. It's probably gonna fill up with dirt anyways. Look at the amount of gravel they used. It was like 2 inches all the way around the pipe, and it was really small gravel. These holes in the PVC are actually large enough that the gravel they used could have fit through it and went through the system. In fact, that's exactly what happened. The elbow near the pop-up emitter, or the discharge area for this French drain, was full of gravel. This property also had an irrigation system, and we did cut some lines digging in this French drain. However, we also repaired them before we left. Something I want to point out is this is a sump pump discharge area where their basement sump pump pushes water outside of the house. What the homeowner had previously was a straight piped connection out of their house into a French drain, which will then leak the water back next to your foundation. We determined that a French drain was not needed on this side of the house, so we used solid pipe to go to the pop-up emitter. We've added something extra, a freeze overflow protection. We put this here so that if for any reason the pop-up emitter gets frozen or has a blockage in it, then the sump pump will not burn itself out, trying to push water into a system that's full. The only things connected to the pipe on this side of the house are that sump pump and also the buried downspouts on this side of the house. These 3 items have their own line that go to the front of the house, almost near the sidewalk, far enough away so that the water's not anywhere near the foundation. Alright, back to the French drain. What you'll see here is a large roll of permeable filter fabric. This encapsulates the entire French drain, and it makes sure that water can get through to the pipes without dirt clogging up the system. This is required, and a really common mistake a lot of people make when installing French drains is simply using weed barrier fabric, which is usually non-permeable, meaning that water can't get through. To make the installation process a lot easier, we usually stake down our fabric so that the wind doesn't blow it away, and we can ensure the bottom of the fabric is flat. The corrugated, perforated French drain pipe, which we're actually going to use 2 of in this situation, must lay at the bottom of the trench. Some contractors, for some reason, put a small layer of gravel down first and then their pipe. This is wrong. You want the pipe at the very bottom of the trench to be able to absorb as much water as possible. Here's what the fabric-lined trench looks like. You can see that we've avoided some irrigation lines, which is really common in situations like these. Usually there's at least electrical lines or gas lines that we have to work around. Next, we just need to put the pipe in the trench. At the very bottom, this trench is wide enough for 2 4-inch pipes. The ones I'm talking about currently are the black pipes, and they are for the French drain. These black pipes are perforated. As you can see, they have some holes in them to absorb water from the soil. However, you can see in this situation, for this property, we're also installing catch basins. These catch basins require a separate solid line, and we also tape these connections so that water doesn't leak out of the surface system and overwhelm the French drain system, making it work twice as hard. Something I haven't mentioned yet, because of the 2 perforated pipes in the bottom, you can see that we actually cap one of the sides. We cut out some of the pipe to allow the catch basin to be able to sit on the floor of the trench. Now this still allows water to flow. They can flow in between the different pipes. However, we also always leave one pipe straight. To be more specific, this system we've been calling double flow. There's 2 French drain pipes, and there's a catch basin pipe. Because we only dig one trench, and the price of the pipe is negligible to the entire project, we plan to install quite a few of these this summer. We love them, our customers love them, and they can handle a ton of rainfall. Next up, once the pipe is in the ground and we've double-checked every connection, we start backfilling with some gravel. Now the gravel we're using is not teeny tiny small particles of gravel that were used in the French drain before us. We're using large stone so that there will be air voids in the drain. This allows water to get to the bottom pipe quicker so that it can flow where we want it to go. Once the catch basins are leveled and the gravel is installed, we fold the filter fabric back over and stake it down. Between the top of the filter fabric and the swale that we dug in preparation for this French drain, there will be around 2 to 3 inches of dirt. This is so grass can still grow over the French drain. For this side of the house, we'll have 2 pop-up emitters, one for the French drain and buried downspouts. It's important to note that we tie the buried downspouts into the French drain system after the French drain has been terminated. The second pop-up emitter is for the catch basins. Recently, we've started installing pockets of gravel underneath the catch basins, and this is because at the elbow of the catch basin is the lowest part of the entire system. We drill a hole so that water can slowly seep out of it, preventing things like mosquitoes. And we've noticed if there's just dirt down there, the dirt will turn into mud and push up through the pop-up emitter. So we've been replacing that with gravel. We learn these types of things because we care about our customers. We check in on them, and we hear about the problems that they may have with our systems in the past. We work really hard to continue improving. We believe we're already the best, but we're always learning and trying to get better. If you're in the Kansas City area and you have some drainage problems, you can go to our website in the description below and book your very own appointment. It's completely free, and we'll send a drainage engineer out to give a bid on your property. If you agree, we'll come out just like we did with this job and make sure you never have to worry about water in your basement or water pooling in your yard ever again. If you're not in the Kansas City area or you don't need drainage work and you just enjoy watching these videos, you can support us by leaving a like, subscribing, and dropping a comment below. These videos do take a lot of time and effort to produce. We're not really getting paid for these videos either. They hold us accountable, we know that other people like watching them, and maybe there's another drainage contractor out there who learned something from our documentation of our work. Whatever the reason is, thank you so much for watching our videos, and until next time,